I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things, all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. And this last week, we had Ring of Honor Final Battle 2023, live from Garland, Texas, exclusively on the Honor Club. I'll get to that in a little while, but first, let's get into the event. The opening match for the AAA Mega Championship, Black Taurus versus El Hijo de Vikingo. I will say it was a good opener because it was entertaining. Although, every time, whether it's Ring of Honor or AEW, whatever, they have the Mega Championship defended, I can't really get that into it because it's one of those times that we know it's not going to change hands. Like, we know AAA is not going to let their main title change hands on a Ring of Honor or AEW program. And of course, Vikingo was doing a bunch of high spots. It's what he does. But, in my opinion, the most impressive high spot of the night came from Black Taurus when he did a top rope gorilla press slam onto Vikingo. That was awesome. But really, after a bit of a spot fest, of course, Vikingo got his 630 senton onto Black Taurus, got the pin, retaining his Mega Championship. Like we expected. But like I said, it was a good way to start the night. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Second match for the Ring of Honor 6-Man Tag Team Championships. TMDK versus the Gates of Agony. It was pretty good, but I will admit it didn't keep my attention the whole match. A couple of times I had to remind myself, like, oh, pay attention. Mainly because kind of my issue with the 6-Man Tag Team Championships in Ring of Honor, they're always just pretty good standard 6-man tag matches. But there's never anything that spectacular about them. Very rarely. And there's usually not much build up to them. There's not much of a rivalry to them. Which honestly is the same thing with the Trios Championships in AEW. I don't know. I'm just really not a fan of 6-man tag team titles. And it just went a little back and forth until Brian Cage got the pin and retained the 6-man tag team championships for the Gates of Agony. It was I would only give it a 2 out of 5. Then picking it up, an I Quit match between Tony Nese and Ethan Page. This rivalry has been heated, going on for a while. And the stipulation was that Mark Sterling, Tony Nese's manager who constantly interferes for him, was to be handcuffed to the ring post. Of course, at first he was refusing to do it, so out came Mark Henry to make sure he did. Of course, it was an I Quit match, which meant it was going to be brutal, there were going to be weapons, there were going to be tables. But what really gave it the shot of the arm was when Mark Sterling got the key and released himself, and he and Tony Nese started beating on Ethan Page, threatening to handcuff him and beat him down and send the tape to his daughter if he did not say I quit. And from that, the music blared for Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page's former tag team partner. Nese still got the advantage, handcuffing Ethan Page. However, Ethan Page was able to get himself free and use the handcuff chain to choke Tony Nese until he said, I quit. This match was definitely brutal and boosted up the event. I would easily give this one a 5 out of 5. Then a filler match. So they can't tell me it wasn't filler because I honestly cannot remember this match even being announced before the entrances. Like, I watched the 0 Hour, I don't remember them saying anything about it. Watching Ring of Honor, don't remember them saying anything about it. Nyla Rose versus Vert Vixen. No rivalry between these two. Don't even know if they've ever been matched before. And not only was it clear it was a filler match, it felt like a filler match because it was a very quick match where really nothing happened. Just Nyla Rose fighting Vert Vixen, dominating, and eventually getting the pin within a few minutes. There's nothing to this match. I honestly wouldn't even give it a 2. I'd give it a 1 out of 5. Yeah. Then, to crown a new Ring of Honor TV champion. As we know, Samoa Joe vacated the title to give himself that edge and hunger he feels he needs to become the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And Tony Khan decided that for the first time ever, the TV title will be decided in a survival of the fittest. A 6-man single elimination match. The contestants, Dalton Castle, Lee Moriarty, Kyle Fletcher, Lee Johnson, Brian Keith, and Commander. Now, I'm not going to go through everybody who was eliminated and when they were eliminated. I'll just tell you, it came down to Kyle Fletcher and Commander. And they'd even mentioned that it was Commander's birthday, so it would be a great thing for him if he had become the ROH TV champion and being the AAA Cruiserweight champion at the same time on his birthday. Now, I'll say, before it came down to these final two, it was good, but it's where it really got good. Like, these two got brutal with each other. For example, Kyle Fletcher doing the tombstone onto the ring apron. And not to be outdone, to get him back a little bit, Commander later did a 450 splash onto the ring apron. And even from there, it wasn't done. There was just tons of back and forth and drama. You couldn't look away because any moment one of these guys is going to become the TV champion. Until finally Kyle Fletcher got the tombstone in the ring onto Commander, got the pin, and is now the new Ring of Honor World Television Champion. It's good for Kyle Fletcher. It's a great boost for him. I would have been happy whichever one had won this championship. In this match, I wouldn't say it was quite good enough to get a 5, but easily got a 4 out of 5. Yee! Then for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship, Filthy Tom Lawler versus the only 3-time Pure Champion, Wheeler Yuta. These two are both kind of dirty fighters, so that's fitting that during the match, both of them got their one warning for a closed fist. As we know in Pure rules, you hit them with a closed fist, you get a warning. Second time, you're disqualified. And disqualification will cost you the title. As far as the rest of the match, it was okay. It was just nothing special. It was a typical Pure Rules match. And it went until Wheeler Yuta got a roll-up pin onto Filthy Tom Lawler, retaining his Pure Championship. So, the match itself wasn't interesting. What was kind of interesting was after the match, when Tom Lawler was about to adhere to the Code of Honor, and for that, he got kicked in the
Captain Winky!
And Wheeler Yuta was going to beat him down some more until we heard the music of Hook, who came out, Wheeler Yuta ran out, and as Hook was seeing how Tom Lawler was doing, Wheeler Yuta ran back in to strike Hook in the
Winky.
Which obviously means their rivalry isn't done. They are going to fight for the FTW Championship. Maybe Hook is going to challenge for the Pure Championship. I could see that. This match, though, I would say it was good enough to get a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then we had Shane Taylor versus Keith Lee. Because Keith Lee said that he's on a mission. He's got to beat him. And Shane Taylor said, I know who him is. It's me. And he wanted to fight Keith Lee. The match itself, it was good. Like every other time they've mixed it up. I mean, granted, this is finally the time that they mixed it up in a singles match. Although, it's just weird how this is like a rivalry that keeps getting reignited and then dropped and then reignited and then dropped. Honestly, I hope this is the last time because I was already tired of it. I mean, at some point, Lee Moriarty came out to distract Keith Lee. Didn't really do anything, though, because Keith Lee just hit him with the Spirit Bomb, and that was the end of that. And then him and Shane Taylor went back and forth a little bit more until he got the Big Bang Catastrophe onto Shane Taylor, got the pin and the win. Hopefully finally ending this rivalry that really has not been that interesting. Sorry. I like Keith Lee, but okay, fine. You've settled it with Shane Taylor already. Although later, it was revealed in a backstage interview that even though Keith Lee won this match, by him, he was not referring to Shane Taylor. So now it's pretty clear he was referring to Swerve Strickland. Either way, this match, it was good. Can't deny that. It's 3 out of 5. Yeah! And then a fight to honor Jay Briscoe. Considering Jay Briscoe's last match was the Dog Collar Tag Team match at Final Battle last year. This match would be a 6-man tag team match of FTR and Mark Briscoe versus the Blackpool Combat Club. Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, and Claudio Castagnoli. For the first half, it was a good, classic 6-man tag team match with great back and forth wrestling, great drama, until all 6 started brawling on the outside so long that despite the fact that Ring of Honor has a 20 count out, they got double counted out. But this didn't stop them, as Mark Briscoe grabbed the mic and said, hell nah. He wanted the match to restart as a fight without honor. And immediately Tony Khan got in the earpiece of the commentators and said, do it. So I love the dynamic here. It went from being a classic back and forth wrestling match to a frickin' brutal-ass hardcore brawl. And it was hardcore and had all the hardcore staples. Thumbtacks, barbed wire, wrapped around ladders, thumbtacks on tables. And it ended when Mark Briscoe got the J-Driller onto Bryan Danielson on a bed of chairs and got the pin, honoring his brother, Jay Briscoe. It was a great match, great drama, great story being told in the ring, outside the ring, throughout the match. 5 out of 5. Yeah! Then another last-minute filler match. This one was announced on the 0 Hour. a proving grounds match between Anthony Henry and Ring of Honor champion Eddie Kingston. Because during the 0 hour, Eddie Kingston came out complaining that even though he's the champion, he's not on the card. Which is obviously why, because his titles are on the line in the Continental Classic to be combined with the Continental Classic to make a North American Triple Crown champion. Where the winner of that Continental Classic that Eddie Kingston is involved in and will be decided at World's End, the winner is going to be the Ring of Honor World Champion, the NJPW Strong Openweight Champion, and the AEW Continental Champion. But during that, Anthony Henry came out, basically challenged him. He's not in title contention, so again, proving ground match to be something to put in between the fight to honor Jay Briscoe and the main event. And overall, it was okay, but from the moment it was announced, it just felt like a who cares kind of match. Like, this really wasn't a match that should have been on a big card like Final Battle. It should have just been on the weekly show. And it basically just went how we figured it was going to. A little bit of back and forth until Eddie Kingston got the submission over Anthony Henry. Like I said, it was just really pointless. 2 out of 5. Yeah! Then a main event for the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. Billie Starkz challenged Athena. As you know, Billie Starkz has been Athena's protege for a while, but Athena disrespects her. So now she wanted a match. It was really good. You know, Athena dominated most of the match. Billie Starkz got some offense in, but mostly it was Athena. What changed the tide for Billie Starkz, though, was when Athena wanted her other protege, Lexi Nair, to give her the belt. And Lexi Nair didn't want to because she's friends with both her and Billie Starkz. So while they were arguing, Billie Starkz capitalized on that moment to get the upper hand. Almost won the match, but Athena did recover, and it went back and forth until Athena got her in this really wicked, twisted, knot-type submission and got Billie Starkz to tap out, making it to where Athena is still the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. And afterwards, they hugged it out, and Billie Starkz is still her minion. It was really good. I wouldn't say it was even close to the best match of the night, but it was really good. 4 out of 5. Yeah! So Ring of Honor Final Battle 2023 overall. Whereas there were some entertaining matches, there was a couple of 5s, a couple of 4s, a few 3s, and a couple of 2s and a 1. Honestly, overall, it wasn't that great. Because even though there were some really good matches, there was also some really not so great matches. And I have the same issue with Ring of Honor that I've had for quite a while now. That I've talked about on pretty much every review of any Ring of Honor event I've done. They need to separate it from AEW. If Tony Khan is really going to run both AEW and Ring of Honor, it needs to be its own. Because when you look at it, most of the people on the event, they're wrestlers that are frequently on AEW. There was very few exclusive to Ring of Honor wrestlers on here. And even the ones that might seem like it, they're actually not. Like Filthy Tom Lawler's on the event. He's contracted by New Japan Pro Wrestling. The opening match was 2 AAA guys. It's just that thing of like they're just trying to fill up their roster. It needs its own unique, separate roster. It needs titles that are not frequently shown on AEW. It needs to be its own. Whether Tony Khan wants it to be what Ring of Honor has always been, or basically be AEW's version of NXT, whatever, it needs to just be that already. It needs to get exclusive. I mentioned quickly in the beginning I'd get into it being exclusively on the Honor Club. I don't look at that like that's a good thing. I look at that as proof that it's not doing well enough to be on pay-per-view. And honestly, I'm kind of glad it was on Honor Club, because if I would have paid extra for the pay-per-view, I wouldn't have been upset, but I would have been a little let down. I wouldn't have said it was worth it. It is worth it if you have Honor Club. And I get they were also hoping that this would boost subscriptions to Honor Club, but I sincerely doubt it. Because that is just the problem with Ring of Honor being exclusively on Honor Club. It's not going to get new eyes. AEW, regardless of what you think about it, same thing with WWE. There are people who are going to be just trying to tune in, trying to find stuff and go, you know what, let me check this out. Nobody's doing that with Ring of Honor, because in order to check it out, you have to go on Honor Club and pay for it. And you're asking people to pay for something they're not sure whether or not they're going to like. It's just probably not going to work out. Now, granted, this being a big event and being on Honor Club might have gotten some people to go, you know what, let me check it out. At the very most, I would subscribe. If I don't like it, I can unsubscribe, and I didn't lose that much money. but still, it's showing that Ring of Honor is failing. And if Ring of Honor is going to be boosted, it needs to show somewhere outside of Honor Club. I understand Tony Khan is working on that, and there's always talks about them getting on some kind of streaming service. Who knows what's going to go on with that in the future, but I will also say another big problem I had with this is most of the matches just felt like filler. There wasn't that many of them that had some real build-up. And even though I get that Tony Khan likes that, and that's always kind of been Ring of Honor, is more about the matches and the sport, we still need some drama to get invested in this. We still need some storytelling. There were 2 matches on the card that were just thrown in there that really should have just been something on their weekly program, not something taking up space on a big event. Especially when, if you took those 2 out, there still would have been 8 matches, which is more than enough for a big event. Because of stuff like that, it didn't help get us to the next match. It kind of felt this is just starting to lag. So even though I felt the Final Battle was entertaining, and I do feel that if you have Honor Club, obviously you should check it out, because why not? I can't sit there and say it was great. It was okay. It was worth watching. I would sure recommend check it out if you already have Honor Club. I would recommend get Honor Club if you don't have it already, and then check it out. But if this had been on pay-per-view, I don't know if I could have been pushing too much for you to order it. Honestly, I'd only give Final Battle 2023 a 3 out of 5. Yeah! So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications for when I post the videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of Ring of Honor Final Battle 2023. Love you guys.